Hargrove Roofing, we try to think outside the box to kind of get the creative juices flowing. So I brought in my friend Stevie Lee, former defensive tackle for the Texas Longhorns. He's going to help the team strategize, really motivate them, light a fire.
This guy's going to block down. This guy's going to block down. You put your butt into the guard, and that way my Mike linebacker gets free to do what?
Not only are they going to learn a thing or two, but they're going to also leave with a great attitude and a bunch of smiles on their faces.
I'm sorry, what does this have to do with roofing exactly?
Get out.
Right now.
I said get out.
For me, that's what it's all about. It's just having fun, making our employees have a great time. Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
It's another week of a new number one, and guess what? It is still an SEC team. Texas takes over this week. Only 8 teams from the SEC are in the top 25 this week, but if you're looking at RPI, there are 10 SEC teams in the top 25.
Stevie Lee, man, it seems like a carryover, a theme with the SEC. Basketball, 14 teams in the NCAA tournament. Now SEC baseball, we all know what it's about. It's a grind. But this episode is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to learn a lot from our guest. But does this surprise you at all in the first year with Jim Schlossnagle? I know being number one in April is good and all. You want to be number one in Omaha when it's all said and done in June. Quick thoughts, man. Does this shock you against the elite competition in the country?
Nah, it doesn't shock me, man. He was already doing things in the SEC. We got him, and we're still doing things in the SEC.
I am Sean Clinch, the co-host of The Pass Rush with Stevie Lee. And that is Stevie Lee, the co-host of The Pass Rush with Stevie Lee. Be sure to follow us on each of our social media platforms, Facebook, IG, X, YouTube, and TikTok. Of course, tonight, you're seeing this episode at 8 p.m. and the Longhorn baseball team is their first midweek game, being number one in the country. It's been a revolving door of being number one. We got a fun show. Are you ready?
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Ball. This could be trouble. The out at first, and this one's in the books. Saunier gets his first save, and Texas wins the series 5-4, the final.
All right, Stevie, on the road. The Longhorns went to Lexington, Kentucky. Scrappy bunch, not having the year that they had hoped. They were in Omaha recently. Mm-hmm. And now you see Texas, they got challenged on the road. On the road is hard for any sport. And we're halfway through this deal, or a little past halfway. You've got a big month the rest of this month. You got a really challenging month of May. And that was the first time, in my opinion, that Texas was truly tested. I mean, they swept through Georgia, the top home run hitting team in the country. And then Georgia takes care of business against Arkansas. It's just up and down, up and down. What do you like what you see from this team? Because this is the time of year when your team really builds an identity in baseball.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's being up and down the other teams. I think that we're just that good right now. that we are making them look bad, and then when they go out to play someone else, then they look fantastic. I think that our pitching is good. We're getting the bats on the ball. I think that all around baseball is good baseball being played by these guys. That's just my opinion. I'm not the baseball expert. Talking about football, I can do that all day. But from the untrained eye, we have a guest.
Shout out to Hargrove Roofing. Started out in Shreveport, expanded into Texas. They are our family here. They're big supporters. We try to bring them business. And it's scratch your back, we'll scratch yours. They've scratched your back, and that's a lot of back. And and tell me, you are the face, the unofficial face of Hargrove Roofing. The marketing slogan, it's short and simple. Stevie Lee does it best.
My guys over at Hargrove Roofing, man, call them Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
Man, that's beautiful. I could not do that any better, my friend. Hey, let's not hesitate, man. I love this person, man. He is fun. He knows a lot about baseball. Let's bring him in. Look at our guy, the Ty Harrington. He's done a lot of things. Played baseball for Texas when they were going to Omaha every year, which is the expectation these days, and has and always been winningest coach in Texas State baseball history. But more importantly, a friend of mine, a friend of Stevie's, and a friend of the podcast, Ty Harrington, in his office. He always makes time for everybody. I don't know how you find the time to do all that you do.
Well, first of all, Stevie, everybody does need to know who's on their roof. And so that is important. And so I appreciate the introduction and the opportunity to hang out with you guys this afternoon and talk baseball. Truly something I love, and certainly college baseball more than anything else. And a lot of people get confused about that and they want to talk more about the professional side of baseball. I like professional baseball. Still have a handful of players that are playing. I pay attention to it. It is something I enjoy, but not love like I do college baseball. And the people that have been a part of it, the people that are still a part of it, been a huge part of my life. And so this is, anytime somebody really wants to discuss it and talk about it, I'll give them my 2 cents, right, wrong, or indifferent. The only thing it's important to is me. And the rest of everybody else can just delve through it any way they want to. But certainly appreciate you guys having me today.
100%. And Stevie, a fun fact about Ty, he made a seamless transition from coaching to his career now. And now he also on the side, he announces baseball. I listened and watched a little bit of his broadcast this past weekend. It's a natural. And Texas fans have been absolutely spoiled with Keith Moreland, Greg Swindell, and now Ty Harrington. Ty, you heard Stevie talk about it, and you hear me talk about it a lot, either through text or whatnot. But what's your takes on this UT baseball team? Is this typical Schlossnagle type of team and style? Does any of this surprise you how quickly it's happened?
I don't know that surprise is the right word. I don't know if expect is the right word. I don't know if any of those, describe it completely, because there was an unknown to all of this to most of us, and that is going in the SEC. And that's the part that you don't know till you know. You can think and then all of a sudden you get in there and you find out there's a little more to it. But what I'm not surprised about, or what I am not confused about, maybe that's the best word for me. And again, it's just my take on it, is that, Jim has always been one of the most detail-oriented people in our business. He's also been, and I don't do a good job of saying this or describing this. I probably ought to reach out to AI or something and figure this out someday. But the reality is that he's a forward thinker. He's on the cutting edge of the way our game is being played, but also the elements of our game that can make you successful. And Jim has always been on the front of that, right? He's not chasing a trend. He's either creating it or a part of it. And I think that's important, because what that tells you is that he's a guy that wakes up every day with a renewed attitude about, how do I make this better? I'm not satisfied with what it is. I have to make it better. In order to make it better, you got to get out of being stuck in what you're doing all the time. And so that's my best way to describe Jim's attitude and his personality, by the way. I think he also takes on the responsibility. He understands that, the expectations of everywhere he's been. I think ultimately, when he took the job here at Texas, he had a really good understanding and appreciation of what he was going to be involved with. Jim is, in my mind, as prepared as any one person they could have gone out and gotten in this position to take it on and understand and appreciate and the expectations, and also lead it at this point.
Go ahead, Stevie.
Well, from what I'm seeing, like I I met him at a fundraiser with the Texas One Fund, and he's sharp. And when you said a forward thinker, that I didn't have the words for it either, but I think that's perfect for what you said. Forward thinking. I think you are AI already. So,
Stevie, I'm an A something. I don't know about the I part of it, but I am definitely an A something.
Yeah. So, but that was perfect, man. Forward thinking and setting the trend. I think that CDC went out there, and that's a great hire, man, and it's paying off right away to go out and get him. So I like what they're doing. I like his mindset when I met him, and retaining some really important people on staff, and some to even stay on staff over there. So that's someone said it the other day. In fact, I heard Bob Shipley say it. When he was a head coach, he wanted people that were really smarter than him around him as his assistants.
Yes.
So I think Jim is doing the same thing.
I know, Ty, you never really experienced a down period during your time as a player at Texas. Stevie, to put it in perspective, that decade of the 80s, correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, there could have been 6 national championships in that decade alone for Texas.
Yeah, well, so if we're going to go down that road, I'm going to go down it briefly because I was the 83 team was the year before I got here, which won a national title, correct?
Right.
And so I think the 81 team had gone to Omaha as well. And I think maybe the 80 team or something. But then 84, my freshman year, we got beat in the national championship game. 85, we got beat in the national championship game. 86, we got beat in the regional by the team that won the national championship. 87, we got beat in the semifinals in Omaha in the national championship. And then in 1989, my second year on the staff, we got the national championship. Now, having said all that, and it's as impressive as it sounds, and it is impressive, it's also, you didn't hear me say we won a national championship.
Right.
And so that's the part that tells you a story about a lot of different things. When it tells you the story and the tradition, the history of this great baseball program that nobody is any better than the University of Texas or has more tradition in it. What it also tells you is that we're measured by national titles.
Yeah.
Doug Hodo, who was one of my teammates and a dear friend of mine, whose son played at Texas as well, was a center fielder, made a comment one time after we finished second again in 1985, which might have been the best team I'd ever seen or been a part of by far. And he said, we get on the bus and he said, the only people who remember who finished second. And I remember I turned to him and I said, who? He goes, the people who do. That's it. Mm-hmm. And so when you put that in reality, matter of fact, I think that was the 84 team. I'm sorry. It was Fullerton had beat us, Augie and them had beat us. And then we sat as a team outside the Yellow Belly school bus that we rode on back then from the Holodome to Rosenblatt Stadium. And with the guy driving our bus, it had on a hat that said, I got stoned when. Anyway, when we got to the stadium, we were outside the stadium after the heartbreak of getting beat. We were waiting for Coach Gus and the 2 other teammates, Billy Bates, I think, and maybe Greg Swindell to come out of the press room. And we were standing there when he made that comment, and there was a rally of, even amongst the tears of defeat and disappointment of losing a national title, there was this conversation amongst the guys who were returning that we would return. And again, 364 days later, we did return. But that was also the expectations of what Texas baseball was about, and winning national championships is part of that. And look, there's very few people that can honestly talk about that they're going to go accomplish and have an opportunity to win a national.
Now you look at this current team; they're now ranked number 1 in the country, a ranking that this program is used to. In April, as Ty will vouch for, about this time frame, a couple more weeks in April is when teams really, really, really start becoming what they are identity-wise. But second-ranked ERA in the country, pitching staff, 3.03. The Arm Farm, the pitching coach at Texas is known as. and 29th in the country with over 100 dingers. Ty, we'll begin with you, and Stevie, you follow up Ty. You look at what they've accomplished. I know it's a great resume, but what have you seen from the eyes of a former college baseball coach that makes you think that they can maintain this and be one of those 8 in Omaha?
Well, I mean, you obviously have to start on the pitching side of it. And, you know, when you talk about the arm farm and you talk about Max Wiener and the job that Max has done has been, you know, to me, unreal. He hasn't had a ton of time with these guys, right? This is just the look at what you see in a hurry of putting a team together. And what you're going to see in the future is going to be even more profound and even more in depth of, in my opinion, from the pitching perspective of what Texas is going to represent. But we're going to stay in this season and in this group. And what you see from the beginning is like, you know, and I even think Coach Schlossnagle would tell you this. And he was fortunate to this that there were several hitters, older hitters that returned, and they were able to talk a few into staying and then so you have a nucleus from the offensive perspective of it. Now the pitching side of it, there was just a handful, but what you get a quick glimpse of because of the portal and because of Coach Schlossnagle's staff, and Stevie referred to it just a minute ago, and the quality of it and how you assemble a staff, he was able to get into the portal and get Dylan Volantis, Burns, Mendoza. I mean, the list goes on, Rodriguez. The list goes on of guys that have made a huge impact. They had 2 weeks to do this, right? So that tells you that the speed that they work and the efficiency that they work and the list of players that they keep on a ready mark of, hey, we got to go replace the second baseman. Bam, here's a guy. Hey, we got to go get 4 arms. Bam, here are the 4 best in the country, right? So that tells you first about the recruiting piece of and the organization of what that looks like and how that is. That's a huge piece of Coach Schlossnagle and his staff. And then you get to the part where, you know, they were able to bring in some arms and then redefine some of the arms that were already here. You know, you look at Dre and what he's done with the arm angle change, right? And he now is pitching at a productive level, a much more productive level, and he's enjoying his 6-year senior, right? And so then you see the young arms and what they've been able to do. Dylan Volantis has been, to me, one of the most impressive, you know. Yeah, I mean, this is a Greg Swindell type, you know, guy that's out there pitching. His ability to execute in big moments is huge. He was asked to come in the middle of the game in the Georgia series with a runner on, I think, or 2 guys on, and to face one of the best hitters in the SEC at the time, slugging percentage-wise, and he lands the first breaker on the first pitch, and you could just hear the air just drop out of the stadium. It was the hitter as much as anybody going, oh, my gosh, look at that breaker. That's tough to deal with, right? And it was so impressive for him to land it. And, you know, and so there's a mixture of the recruiting in such a short term portal wise. There's a mixture of this staff getting to do their job. And Tulo, you look at the defensive piece of what Troy does, and then Nolan Kane on the recruiting side of what he does and his reputation of having that list of people to go get in that short time frame to bring here and to accomplish that. And then obviously Max and what he's done with the arms. So I think your original question was, what is it? And it is the pitching side of it for me, because it gives you a chance. When you had a 3 ERA, you're now playing, you know, a 4-run game. And how do you accomplish scoring 4 runs in a game? And their offense, with a lot of guys, you know, returning from a year ago, they're able to do it. I would tell you the second most important thing to me that I've seen, and I know my time's getting up, but the second most important thing that I have seen is they were one of the most opportunistic teams I've seen. And what I mean by that, if you look at the runs scored this year, and you go and you look at how they score, if you walk a guy, or if you walk them, hit them, or you make an error, it's like they're just waiting for it. And when they do, they take advantage of it. Somebody could give you an opportunity, hand gift it to you, give you the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life, and you not do anything with it, and you get nothing. But when somebody gives you something like that, an error or a base hit, or a walk or hit batsman, or you earn that piece of it, right? Or you earn your opportunity, you still have to take advantage of it. And they do a tremendous job of transferring your mistake into your fault to your loss. And that's what they're really, really good at. And it's like they just sit over there and they go, oh my God, they did it. They made a mistake. Here we go. And I mean, and they hit you right in the mouth with it. And so to me, those are the two most, there's a ton of stats. I mean, they're hitting 286 as a team. They're the things that they do defensively, they're at 976. I know Jim well enough to know he'd love to see it around 980, 981 fielding percentage, right? But if you go and you look at the last play of the Kentucky game, Jalen Flores has got to make a great play on a double play to end the game. Right. And they just continually come up. Schussler playing first base looks like he's been playing it since he was in diapers. And they just moved him over there. And I mean, it just is, the detail of their defense is just so good. And look, there's the ERA. I'll give you an interesting stat. What you think, there's only a 0.26% difference in batting average in the SEC between Texas and the SEC right now. That's it. But yet they're 13-2. Only a 0.26%, yet they're 13-2. That tells you that when they get an opportunity, they create opportunities. When they get them, they take advantage of them. And then they pitch at a high level. And they pitch, it seems at times they pitch even at a higher level at the back end of it. And now after the last weekend, they've created with Saunier and those guys coming through and throwing so good, and Burns, those guys throwing so good for them, and they had to have them last weekend, and they were able to do that. So much more than you probably wanted, Stevie. I'm sure it really was much more than you wanted at any one point in time. So if you weren't a baseball expert, you can at least act like you heard from somebody that thinks he knows something about the game.
Dude, you said everything that I was going to say and more. I was going to say what's going to keep us in this number one, hopefully keep us in this number one ranking is we had some good players last year, and Coach went out and got some really good players for this year through the portal. I mean, this portal thing is all new. But Coach is, like you said, cutting edge on the forefront of things and going to go get players that he want and need in his program. That's it's the players that we have on the roster nowadays. Like it's and you see it in football now too. Go hit the portal hard and get the people that you need and want on your team. And I think that's what Coach has done. That's going to keep us in this ranking and keeping these stats of the. That's an amazing stat that you said about the ERA, how slim thin it is, but we are 13-2. So that's amazing. And Sean, ask him another question so I can just sit back and listen.
Well, real quick, this is just the schedule through the first weekend of May. Beginning with, you're watching this episode right now while they're playing UT Rio Grande Valley. Honestly, Ty and Stevie, Rio Grande Valley out of the Southland Conference, a newer member of that conference, they could potentially, if they don't win that conference tournament, there's a good chance UTRGV could get an at-large. And you have some ties to that program through the coaches.
So Jim and I both do, and it starts with Jim first, that Derek Matlock, the head coach at UTRGV, was a long-time, really successful high school coach, and Jim hired him as a volunteer assistant. Derek wanted to get involved in the college game, and he did for a couple of years, and then had to get out, and then went back into the high school. And so when I was looking for a second assistant, first time I was really going to have a full-time second assistant, believe that or not, and so I called Jim. Jim and I had a lot of close ties in a lot of areas about doing, and I consulted with him about, a hiring of a coach, and he brought Derek's name up. I drove up, met with Derek, was really impressed. And Derek is a really, really hardworking dude. Now, I'm telling you, like he is one of those guys. A lot of guys like to use the word grinder. He is that 100%, and spends a lot of time making himself and the team and the program and the people around him better. And so tonight you'll see the UTRGV team. They're good. I mean, they're right. They're in the possibility of an at-large position later on as it goes on out of the Southland. And so they got a chance to also win that league. And so I don't think tonight you would see them go to their number one guy. It's a short week. Remember that too now. It's a short week coming out of the weekend because it's Easter weekend. So they'll start their series on Thursday. A lot of times those guys who relieve with their ace on Tuesday nights, that's their bullpen night on a Friday night start. So I don't foresee that probably happening tonight, unless who knows. But anyway, so Derek and it is a good program. He's good at what he does, and I'm anxious to see them. I'll have the game tonight, and I'll get a chance to see him. But I'm looking in there too. You guys, and Auburn's in starting on Thursday. I had Auburn in Globe Life back in February, and at one of the tournaments, and they played 3 freshmen, started a freshman on the mound, relieved with a couple freshmen. I remember telling myself that, and thinking to myself, if in April, if those freshmen are still in the lineup, those guys have a chance to be pretty good, because by the time you're a freshman in April, you either get really tired and you play out and don't really understand the process of how hard this is, or you're that talented and that good, and then you just take off. And these guys have played at a high level, and they're good. It's going to be a tremendous challenge. It'll be a tremendous series starting on Thursday. And make sure everybody knows it's not Friday this weekend. It is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series because of the Easter Sunday. And they're really good. Now, and then you look at the end of that, when you look at it at Arkansas, let's just play hypothetical. Let's just say that, then you got the Aggies. Somewhere in there you left that piece off. I'm not sure how you would do that, but you did.
I think it's following Arkansas, right?
Yeah, and then but think about what that's going to look like. And with the Arkansas series, if Texas wins this weekend and Arkansas wins, because they have the Aggies this weekend, and what that's going to look like in Fayetteville. And how exciting that'll be. And so, and you find yourself, Stevie, I see you kind of smirking, but you know what I'm about to say is true. You find yourself every weekend going, wait a minute, they're playing who this weekend? And the other team's playing who this weekend? And you just, it's unreal when you start talking about the SEC, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball. And you look at the matchups every weekend, and it's a top 5 matchup or a top 10 matchup every weekend. The beautiful.
Ty Harrington, his stories are phenomenal. Not only will he educate you on this great game and life, but there are some comical moments this man was a part of, and he shared a few on here and in person, and I will never disclose those stories, which were never told in front of a mic, but is there one story that you can share in front of these cameras and that mic in front of you that's just as amusing today as it was when it happened?
Yeah, this happened Friday, and so this is new, and it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of bragging, but yet I don't want everybody to take it bragging unless you want to, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. What I'm about to say, so. This past Friday, I was invited to go play in a golf tournament for G.J. Kinney, who's really a tremendous coach, the head coach at Texas State University, ex-Longhorn himself, played there his freshman year, and he and Quan Cosby were big buddies. And so Quan and I went down to go play in G.J.'s tournament. It's a big golf tournament. A buddy of mine, David Bailiff, helps put it on, used to be the old football coach. And so this buddy of mine, Mark Parmalee, who owns a bunch of coffee shops and On the Grind, which is unreal in San Marcos and the Brambles and San Antonio area, and he's done unbelievable. And so he invited us to come play in this tournament. They had 2 teams, so we decided that we're going to play in Atzum. well, we don't, like we're going to just go by our rules. And Quan's convinced that if you play an eightsome and it's a scramble, it goes faster. So we were going to test this out. So when I agreed to play in this, originally I said, hey guys, look, I can't play the whole time. And if y'all need to find somebody else, that's fine. I got to do a game that night and I got to leave by 4:15. And it started at 1. And you guys know how long those tournaments take, right? And so anyway, we're making our way around. So Don Coryell, who's the athletic director at Texas State, I saw Donnie and I said, Donnie, will you do me a favor, man? Pick me up at like 4. Have somebody pick me up at 4:15, or you come pick me up. I got to get out of here and go do the Texas State game tonight. And he goes, yeah. And so as we get around to there was a par 3 that we come up to, and this is the first time anybody had ever told me that when you turn 60 years old, which is what I am, when you turn 60, I'll just keep that from all the ladies. So we'll hold that back if you can make it.
It's not on the resume. It's not on Bumble.
So they said when you're 60, you can hit from the whites. Well, I've never done it before. And so I was like, I'll hit from the white tees. I got, we'll see. Now the groups I play with, I can't because I'm a sub 10. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I get to the par 3. They got this big, beautiful truck, and I was like, oh, I got to back up to the blue. I get a hole in one. I can drive out here with this truck, in my mind. And obviously, I didn't. I hit it way over, or hit it on the green, but wasn't close. But it gets better. So this one, I was like, all right, man, I got like a couple more holes, and I got to get out of here. So they were late trying to find me, and I was like, well, it doesn't matter. I'll play one more hole. So we're at Plum Creek, and so there's a short par 3, 2 holes. I don't know what number it is, and we get up to it, and then now because we can, and so everybody hits in the blues, and there's me and the Johnny Dan go down to the whites, right? I'm okay with it, and I walked down there and hit a hole in one. And knocked it in. So now we got 8 guys, and everybody's going nuts. I'm going nuts, and we hit it right there by where everybody's at, 3 or 4 holes right there. So we got a pretty good sized party going on. And so, now I had to do a TV deal that night, right? So I'm going out for free in this whole thing. And so everybody's dancing around. I'm like, now when you get holes in ones, it gets expensive. So, and I'm playing with an 8, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to use my credit card. So I literally hit a hole in one, get in the golf cart, and leave. and I'm thinking to myself, man, I got that pretty easy. I don't have to pay anybody. Well, I get a phone call. Calls me later, goes, hey, he ain't getting off that easy. We're all in Myron's later on, or over the next week or 2 with the and it's on you about anyway, I did the last run, hole one, dance around, holler, up and down, and then you guard and I'm done. I gotta get out of here. Cool. So that's all I got today. Nothing more than that.
Man, that story will live for another week. That feel good story, man. An ace, and then you got to go to work. Talk about
that. I'd have called in that day.
I can see Quan saying that. No. You're going by that liquor store.
Yeah.
Ty Harrington, man, great job, man. The pride of Waco Midway High School.
Indeed.
It was.
I didn't hear.
I think, can you still hear us? I think we're losing your signal.
Yeah.
Hey. Oh, you can? Brother, I owe you big time. I owe you lunch at Dirty Martin's.
Well, indeed.
Let's do it,
my friend.
Hey, always appreciate you, and we're going to get together soon. And good to see you kind of back in Austin, but, you're still living in God's country 2.0, New Braunfels. I won't reveal where, but, man, thank you.
Thanks, Ty, for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
Well, you got it. See you again soon.
See you soon. Stevie Lee, how about that?
That's
That guy, man. He has a wealth of knowledge and stories, not limited to baseball, but man, I can see that an eightsome. I've never said that before. That could get kind of dirty and real quick, an eightsome.
Absolutely.
Hey, real quick, Stevie. I know that you went to a spring practice. Spring is what it is. There is no spring game this year, and a lot of programs are following suit. What have you heard? Any quick nugget about UT spring football?
There's some names coming out of spring football. I was talking about it the day before yesterday, but I'm glad that Sark in his press conference spoke about some guys. And what I am seeing, though, is the D-line. I'm a defensive line. It's the pass rush with Stevie Lee. I'm a defensive line guy. What I saw, man, is those some big, strong guys that are, some are no names right now, but you are going to get to know these guys really well. They're just playing well. It's amazing to see what Coach Becton is doing with these guys being that big, but also staying quick and nimble on their feet. So for me, man, I mean, you guys can talk about wide receivers and running backs and quarterbacks all day. I am the D-line specialist, and I want to see this D-line. I mean, it's the heart and soul of the defense is the defensive line.
100% it is. They create leverage and hold up. Everybody talks about O-line opening holes. Defensive line can create holes for linebackers and DBs to shoot through.
Absolutely. That's what I said on my commercial with Hargrove. You put your butt into that guard, and that way my Mike linebacker gets free to do what, Sean?
Free to do what? What does this have to do with roofing?
Get out.
Hey, that's a good nugget because everyone, no offense to the skill kids, and I know everybody's excited about Arch Manning taking over and running backs healthier, if you will, and the O-line development, but they are low on scholarship receivers, and they went out, and you and I had talked about it. They went out and got one. Mm-hmm. This kid, Emmett Mosley, comes from a Notre Dame family. His mom and dad played football at Notre Dame. The mom played soccer at Notre Dame. He goes to Stanford. So incredibly intelligent kid. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he started developing toward the end of the year. Scored 4 or 5 touchdowns receiving the last 4 games of the year last season. So he's transferring to Texas. Emmett Mosley.
Yep, and I heard that he can blow the top off of defense. Like he can get over the top, and we got a quarterback that can get it to him. I think Arch is really good with his touch on the ball, and that can throw the long ball pretty good. So I think this could be good. Kind of a match made in heaven or a match made in the portal. So
that's right. And speaking of receivers, former Man Cave VIP alumni Ed Small and his dad Clint, and the Small family, they were honored at the Greater Austin Sports Foundation. Ed Small named the Greater Austin Sports Foundation's Male High School Athlete of the Year. He's already at TCU, early enrollee. And so congrats to him. And he's just going to, I think he's going to receive some playing time at TCU this year, maybe as a punt return specialist. I mean, Ed Small, special. You talk about all of the changes in college athletics. There's a ton of them, Stevie, and you know it. You know where I'm going with this. Nico Lamaleva, the quarterback at Tennessee, I don't know the whole story. I just know his dad's involved as the agent, so to speak, and whomever else. What's your thoughts on this? Because his asking price was they want to renew their contract, NIL, asked an ungodly amount, did not report to an important practice meeting. And before I get your take on this, I like the way Josh Heupel responded to it. They parted ways. And this is Heupel's reaction on Nico.
It's unfortunate, just the situation and where we're at with Nico. I want to thank him for everything that he's done since he's gotten here. That's as a recruit to who he was as a player and how he competed inside of the building. And so a great appreciation for that side of it. Obviously, we're moving forward as a program without him. I said it to the guys today. There's no one that's bigger than the Power T.
So let me ask you this two-part question. Your thoughts on these kids are some, not all, then negotiating, requesting more. And number two, I think what Heupel did, do you agree or disagree that this is the beginning of a trend, but it's also going back like a tennis match program saying, no, you're just one person. You're part of the team.
Yeah, man. I don't know all the facts, and I don't think anyone outside knows all the facts. But what we do know is this is pretty wild. Like this is unregulated. Wild, wild west. That word has been thrown around because, you have as an athlete, you have a shelf life. Father Time is undefeated, right?
Right.
And so, you want to get as much as you can out of your athletic abilities and your NIL, your name, image, and likeness as much as you can. Now, also, you also have commitments on top of that, right? And so there's some obligations to fulfill your commitments, but there's obligations to fulfill your potential and your likeness, right? So there's a struggle right there on the player. The other thing is we don't know all the facts. Like, did they promise this kid something, and then when he get there, he doesn't get it? Or also did this kid all of a sudden go and say, I think that such and such got this, so I believe that I should get this. There's some instances at the University of Texas right after the game in Dallas against Ohio State. Some of the kids book a meeting. The very next meeting is with the GM at the University of Texas because some other school would say, I'll get you this amount to come with us, but he wants to stay. But, it's a business now. I mean, it's the business decision of, do I leave that money and stay here, or do I talk to the GM and say, will you match that? It's the wild, wild west.
Yes.
I was born 20 years too early because I would love to get in on some of this money, but also, with all of this happening, I think that we're going to lose a little bit of the spirit of college football.
That's a great transition to Steve Sarkisian. He recently went up to D.C. to essentially speak to members of Congress, the lawmakers, about NIL and not allowing it to lose some of the purity that we have lost already of college football.
I don't think any of us, and our student athletes included, I don't think any of them want to be employees, right? They don't want to feel like an employee. They want to feel like a student athlete. And I get NIL, and believe me, I want our players to be compensated in a way that's right and that's fair. But I also think, we're in a space right now where we don't have a lot of guardrails. We don't have a lot of regulation. And I think if we don't start doing some of this, if we don't start finding a way to get some guardrails around this, we're going to lose this idea of a student athlete.
I like it. I think we're not going back, but there will be some parameters soon. I think everyone now is like, okay, we've got this in place. It's not going anywhere. Do you feel like there will be some hard boundaries or parameters soon?
When it comes to NIL, I don't think so. Because I mean, any company can come up to a kid and say, I need your face on my commercial. When it comes to the revenue sharing, which is totally different from the schools, the revenue sharing is the schools actually paying the kids something. I think that is should be regulated and will be regulated. So there's going to be a set amount that the school can give you, but or the program can give you. But the NIL deal, Dell Computers or Oracle wants Arch Manning.
Google.
Google wants Arch Manning to say something for them, and then but Oracle wants them, and they're both tech companies. Well, Oracle going to have to outbid Google for Arch Manning, right? That's no regulation, and we can't tell Arch how much money he can take except from Oracle, which are billion-dollar companies. You know what I mean? So that I don't see a regulation on the NIL for that. That's your name, image, and likeness, and if your name, image, and likeness is worth a certain number, then that's the number you're going to get, right? So it's still going to be wild out there. I mean, Coach can go talk to DC all he wants to, but whatever a company wants to pay, a company is going to pay.
No, I get that. I think more or less becoming a 1099 employee, classifying these athletes. Well, you're not a student. You're now an employee of the state or whatever. Hey, this wrong nipple. The Masters logo, man. I took a nap. I saw the last hour. Quick thoughts, man. But I definitely Rory McIlroy completing the golf's Grand Slam on his 17th Masters start. He achieved all the big ones: U.S. Open, the PGA Championship twice, the Open in Britain, and then it's a great message because it was bothering him because it's been a while since he last won a major. And for him to finally complete the Grand Slam, it goes back to that old lesson you learn in sports or just life. Keep showing up, get your ass up, and keep doing it. That's exactly what he told his 4-year-old daughter, Poppy, after he won it.
The one thing I would say to my daughter, Poppy, that's sitting over there, never give up on your dreams. Never, ever give up on your dreams. Keep coming back, keep working hard, and if you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
I love it.
That's good.
Hashtag girl dad.
What's that?
Hashtag girl dad.
No question, man. I'm so glad that he said that because he kept coming back. And disappointment last year when he didn't even talk to the media. I thought that he was going to do the same thing and choke this year. He had a 5-foot putt just to win it, and then he missed it and had to go to the playoff. Yeah, it was very entertaining. I loved. I was all about DeChambeau, man. I wanted DeChambeau to get one. He got the lead early on and then just kind of melted down the rest of the day. Basically, like my golf game, I might hit one good shot. But it was fun to watch him play, fun to watch him actually win and get that green jacket.
As we all know, there's a lot of innuendos with golf and with the word strokes and everything. This is a little montage of golf stroke innuendos.
Start stroking, guys. If you're going to take that long, you got to get stroked.
You just have to start stroking guys. And
frustration was that if I did get stroked, how is that my fault? If the volunteers don't tell me and I get stroked for something that I didn't know happened, it kind of seems unfair.
A lot of stroking. You gotta grab your shaft and go.
Yep.
Hey, let's take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to show an alignment with some big-time hands. We're going to talk about staycations, and we're going to talk about Ben's big load. We'll see you on the other side.
Today's going to be an exciting day at the Hargrove office as we bring in a local celebrity. Welcome to kicking phenom, Bert Auburn, conference champion of the Texas Longhorn football team, all-conference kicker. He's going to be our new spokesman. Bert's the best kicker in the conference. He plays for the Texas Longhorns. As you can see, Bert's awesome. Hey, Stevie.
Dude, you're really replacing me with a kicker?
No, not at all, man. Hey, guys, who wants a picture with Stevie? Anyone? Stevie almost won a Big 12 championship. Hargrove Roofing. Know who's on your roof.
Ben's Big Load. Ben's Big Load by Kinsey Mazing. This is Ben. He's been carrying around a huge load for weeks. He needs to drop his load soon before it starts to leak. No matter how hard he tries, he can't seem to let it go. He wishes he could just release it and watch his huge load flow. He tried to drop his load off at Susie's place last week, but when he brought it by, she said, "Not here, your load reeks."
Wow. That's deep. It is disguised as a children's book, but hey, man was trying to drop his load off somewhere.
You just can't keep it. College football spring seasons are wrapping up. You're being a big guy. Y'all had some skill competitions and make it fun during practice. See what lineman could catch a punt or return it. Well, check out this big old lineman bumping off the corner again. A lineman playing a corner. Check out the over the head, getting the eye on the ball, tracking it. Both hands, pulled his best Drew Pearson. Just watch this, man. He's got a future. Maybe at playing receiver on a special set. Damn. That was a man. Was that Stevie Lee?
Not me, but
all right, Stevie's ATX Pro Tip. What you got for us today?
Man, my wife and I, we actually, short story, we got kicked out of our house this weekend. Yeah. What? My daughter kicked us out of the house. She had prom this weekend. So her and some girlfriends all went to prom together, but they needed a house to hang out after the prom. And my daughter said, "It's our house. Y'all got to leave." So wow. Me and my wife packed a bag, and we left. The problem with us leaving is that, we're in Austin, Texas, and
trouble.
We will gladly get out of the house and do a staycation. And we went down to the Thompson Hotel, got a very nice room. We got a day bed by the pool that my wife was there from. She was in that day bed from 11 in the morning all the way until about 6 that evening, just hanging out by the pool at the Thompson, ordering food and drinks. I joined her. I had to do a little bit of work, so I joined her around 3, and we hung out by the pool all evening. And and then we got done with that, took a nap, and then we went down, just walking downtown, stopping, got some food. Didn't go into any bars or anything like that, but we went back up to our hotels, hung out by the hotel bar. It's just a fun. You live in a fun town, and just take advantage of it, man. So do a little staycation. Good vibes. Do a little staycation. People came up to us and started talking, and it was just fun. So that's my ATX pro tip. If you live in Austin, just experience Austin and do a little staycation and stay the night out somewhere.
The Thompson Hotel. I'm all for it, man. I love staycations. I love road trips that are, there's a lot of things to do within an hour and a half. And it's in the city limits. I'm all about staying active and doing stuff. and enjoying things like that. We are huge advocates of that, by the way, all of us here at the Stories Inside the Man Cave. So we all know Shannon Sharp, Deion Sanders, and Chad Ochocinco, and their podcast is absolutely hilarious. They were talking about strip clubs, and Ochocinco said, I don't like it. I don't like to be hounded for money. And then they got on the topic of wings or thighs. And this is where Deion called out Shannon Sharp and Ocho.
I go get the wings. You know, Madge, you gonna take care of you. Know, Madge.
Stop, though. You ain't going there for no wings. You went there for some thighs. You
and
might want some thighs, but there wasn't no wings.
And the legs. I like legs.
Yeah, you like a whole lot of stuff from what I hear. Oh.
Man, stop. I thought you said you were doing. You was
my bad. My bad. No, you walked into that one. You walked in there.
I still don't know how Sharp left his phone live. It went live during some afternoon delight session.
Yeah. Yep. But he is definitely going to a strip club for thighs and not legs. or wings, for thighs and not wings. Absolutely.
What? Hey, Primetime said he hadn't been to one in 30 years.
I can believe that.
Hey, man, tell me something good.
My brother, there's so many things that are good. Tell me something good, my brother Stevie Lee.
Right now, man, the University of Texas Longhorn baseball team is number 1 in the country. It is beautiful outside. It's not too brutally hot right now. Go and enjoy them and support them, man. Get some tickets to the game and just go and support. It's fun. They're number 1. They are. I feel like they can sustain this throughout the whole season. Go and see them now because the ticket prices are going to go high through the playoffs and through the SEC playoffs, and then the
regionals and
regionals and all that stuff. Omaha. Yeah, super regionals, and then going to Omaha. So go see them right now while they're cheap, you know. So, but now this is going to be a really fun season. That's something good that we are on top of college baseball right now. We're going to stay on top of it, and maybe this team is going to see all the way to will be the last 2 teams standing.
I like that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it could be so they won it in 49, 50, 75, 83, and 2002 and 2005. 6 national championship. This may be the 7th, but it's too early, man. Me and number 1 in April is great, but you want to be number 1 in June.
Yeah, no question.
I'll tell you something good, man. I love this time of year in Austin. I love when people start circling back and realizing, man, I have not spoken to XYZ in a while. Man, the thing about spring, especially here, you start thinking about new beginnings. You start thinking about, I need to put my drama or whatever negativity behind you. Spring clean that and start fresh with those special people around you and maybe somebody you've forgotten that really was special to you in your life at some point, even maybe recent. Man, spring clean negativity. It's a great opportunity. I'm in the midst of doing that, man. And I got to say this. Tell you something good. I'm now connected with a pickleball group at the Jewish Community Center in North Austin. Man, that is a high energy, fun group. Pickleball, if you haven't tried it, it's not for everybody. Love it. Great group, like-minded, fun, laid back, competitive. Let's go every Saturday. So for Ty Harrington and the Stevie Lee and his beautiful family, and to his hometown of Shreveport, Louisiana, the home of Hargrove Roofing, and to my college alma mater town, deep in the woods of East Texas, that being Nacogdoches, Texas, and to my lovely hometown, Austin, Texas. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing wherever you may be. Tweet us at Stories Man Cave. Tell us where you're listening from and watching. Be sure to share, like all of our content. And for the OG Man Cave boys, that being Hardball Harge, Big Mike, and the Coach Mo, what do we tell them, Stevie Lee?
We out.
You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up.
I said get out.